always knew that one day my ex's new girlfriend would reach out to me, and she did. Story time. I was almost 16 when I finally got out of my relationship with Jamie, but I felt so guilty for not taking legal action. I mean, I didn't have the support to even do that, and I felt way too ashamed to like have to talk about it publicly in court in front of my parents and everything. So it just didn't feel like an option. But the guilt weighed on me heavily because I felt like he was so dangerous. He's someone that genuinely just needs to be locked up. And in a way, it was kind of my fault that he wasn't, or at least that's how it felt. Like, I remember one time my stepdad took us to a shooting range because that's just something that he did for fun. And he wanted to teach me how to shoot a pew-pew for, like, you know, my own protection sort of thing. But once things were over with Jamie, I thought about that day all the time. Now Jamie was somewhere wandering the street, knowing how to shoot, having been specifically taught. But even aside from that, it was only a matter of time before he found a new girlfriend and did to her what he had done to me. I told you guys in another video about how one time he tried to traffic me. Of course, I didn't know that word back then, but he tried to convince me that I needed to sleep with a guy that he met on Craigslist so that we could obtain Mary Jane from this guy, even though the actual plan was for that guy to just hang out with us. Like, I don't think it was about the Mary Jane or even money. I mean, who knows why he did anything, but it was pretty much all like a power thing. I always intuitively knew that one day I would get a message from a girl saying that she had dated Jamie too, and that he had done horrible things to her. And I knew that they would know how to find me because he had my name tattooed across his chest. So all they had to do was look that up on Facebook or something. And one night when I was almost 20 years old, as I laid in bed, staying up way too late, I got a message at 1 a.m. from a girl we'll call Jenny. And she says, "Did Jamie ever put his hands on you?" That's it. That was what she said. And so I was like, "How do you know Jamie?" And she said, "I'm dating him." My heart started racing. I didn't know what to do. Like, I knew this day would come, and it just happened. And I just wanted to urge her to get away from him. I said, "Listen, Jamie is extremely dangerous and you need to get away from him." He told me that he never put his hands on any of his exes. Of course he said that. Well, I'm replying telling her that's a lie. He's insane. Get away from him. And she says, "I have another question. How did you guys make money?" I said, "Well, we were kids. We didn't really make any money besides him like selling my stuff. But why?" And she proceeds to tell me this. So now, mind you, she was only 18 and I guess like hadn't even finished high school yet. Of course, Jamie isolated her and tarnished her relationship with her mom and convinced her to move out with him. And they were just living in a motel. By the way, at this point, Jamie would have been like 23. So he started going out and finding guys roaming around the motel and telling them that for $40, they could have their way with Jenny for 20 minutes. He tells me that they've been doing this for 2 but that on this particular day, this guy comes in, Jamie leaves the room, and she tells the guy no, she doesn't want to do anything. He still tries to convince her for 10 to 15 minutes, but she keeps telling him no, and eventually he leaves. So Jamie comes back in and doesn't believe her when she tells him that she didn't do anything with that guy. So Jamie thinks that she did that, but the guy didn't pay. So clearly she wanted it. She liked that guy, and now he's jealous and angry. And that's when he put his hands on her. And she says that that was the first time that he had ever done that to her. She says that he keeps making her do this with these guys, even though she says no and she doesn't want to, and she's even on her period at this point. So I am like really wanting to get her away from Jamie, and I don't know what to do. I'm across the country. I don't even have her phone number or her location. Like I'm just messaging her on Facebook. So I'm telling her, this isn't your fault, but you need to get away from him. Like, let me help you. Let me find, like, tell me your location. I'll find a shelter you can go to. Can you go with your mom? And she's like, I don't know. Like, she's not giving me any information that I can work with. But I just keep telling her, like, he is dangerous. And for a few days, this kind of goes on where she kind of tells me all this crazy information, but then doesn't really let me help her. And then I'm just sending her long messages being like, please, like, get away from him. So one day she messages me and she's like, hey. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you doing? And she says, not so good. And she sends me a picture of her face all bruised up. Said that once again, a guy came in. She didn't want to do anything with him, so he ended up leaving. And now Jamie was mad again. So he grabbed her by the hair, dragged her into the bathroom, and then hit her in the head with his pew-pew. I feel incredibly responsible for this girl. I'm probably the only person in the world that she's telling any of this. And I really felt like, because I never took legal action on Jamie, I felt like that alone made me responsible for her. But aside from kind of venting to me, she doesn't want the help. So there was like not much I could do except keep messaging her. So she tells me that she feels like she might have a concussion, and I'm telling her, go to the hospital. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, she doesn't want to call the police on Jamie, but if I can convince her to go to the hospital, then that's a chance for her to get away. So now I'm just urging her to please go to the hospital. So now I go to her profile and I find who her mom is on Facebook. I message her mom, and I didn't want to embarrass Jenny by giving too much information, like specifically what he was doing to her, which now as a mother, I probably would just lay it all out. But I didn't want to ruin the trust that Jenny had with me, so I didn't tell her specifically what was happening. But I did reach out to her mom and I said, hi, I dated Jamie in the past and he is extremely dangerous, like she needs to get away from him. And the mom replied the next day or so being like, oh, I know, she won't leave him though. Like, not concerned enough. So anyway, it's still the same night that Jenny's messaging me saying that she, might have a concussion. And I said, is Jamie there? And she says, yeah, he's sleeping in bed. I open the door, it'll wake him up. And I said, okay, can I call the police for you? Again, like I wouldn't be asking permission if not for the fact that I didn't have her location. And she said, no. He said that if anyone shows up at the door, that he will pew-pew them. I said, okay, I get it. But let him try. Like, I will tell the police that he has a pew. And again, she's kind of ignoring what I'm saying, and she sends me a picture of their motel window with a bullet hole in it. And before I can even reply to that, she says, I need to go. I'm using his phone. Like, I don't want him to see these messages. Basically, give her one last message being like, you can get out of this. Like, I can help you. Like, you can do this. But anyway, this video is getting long, so I'm gonna have to do another part. So let me know if you're here for that. And also, if you're interested in seeing like all of the texts, it is actually pretty crazy to like actually read through it. So I think I'll post those for my subscribers. I also am posting an exclusive video today. And the next exclusive video I'm gonna do is going to be like the craziest part, like the darkest, like literally the most disturbing part of the whole Jamie saga, in my opinion. And also, if you have a crazy story that you want me to share on my page, you can go ahead and email me at contactdesitalks@gmail.com and send me your craziest stories, whether it's funny, sad, like anything. So thank you for listening. I love you guys.